Hi, this is Sue for Parkies and Me, my journey with Parkinson's. This morning I'd like to talk about memories and what sparks those memories. Because memories are special. They can be wonderful, they can be difficult, they can be all manner of things, but they always, I would say, have some kind of emotion attached. And I can feel it in my voice already, that the memories I have trigger several emotions. So anyway, my husband and I were playing a game called Hurdle this morning, and it plays sort of little clips of things, of bits of music, and you have to guess what the tune is. It's a really good game. If you haven't tried it, I really recommend it. And sometimes we do really well and sometimes not so much. But today, one of the categories was UK number ones. Now, my dad was a pom, and he had funny little sayings, but he also used to sing funny little songs. And so one of the answers today, it just played a snippet of it, and it had the word dustman in it. And I sort of went, oh, I think I know what that is. The word dustman was because it was a song called My Old Man's a Dustman. And I won't sing it to you, we'll spare your ears that. But as we listened to it, I think both of us got a little bit misty. I turned and looked at my husband, and yeah, we both were a little bit misty around the edges. And I think for both of us, it took us back to our childhood. And often it's songs that do take you back to your childhood. And even theme tunes. There's a part of this hurdle that's theme tunes. And it was weird. I have a thing. When I was a child, I was brought up a Catholic, and I'm sure he must have had fish and chips on a Friday night. Probably homemade ones, but fish and chips nevertheless, because my dad was a Catholic, and on Fridays at the time you weren't allowed to eat meat. I'm not quite sure why, but that was the rule. And so we would have, it must have been a Friday, and the reason it must have been a Friday was whenever I hear the theme tune to Huckleberry Hound, which is a cartoon, whenever I hear that theme tune to Huckleberry Hound, I can smell fish and chips. I kid you not. I can hear the music, and it takes me back to my childhood. We must have been allowed to take our fish and chips in the lounge and watch Huckleberry Hound. So it's strange, isn't it? The things that brings back memories, that brings back happy times of growing up with my three brothers and my mum and dad and watching Huckleberry Hound. And my dad was a great one for watching cartoons all his life. I think he loved having the grandkids round because it gave him an excuse to watch the Wombles or whatever was in vogue at the time. And he would sit there for ages watching cartoons on telly. And he would become totally absorbed in them, whatever was on the telly. And I remember my mum saying he must have sat down to watch something and either got so engrossed in it or fell asleep. And he'd put some toast on, and my mum walked in the door, there's black smoke rising up from the toaster, and my dad was very much not flavour of the month. So yeah, and my dad had an eclectic taste in music. He was very fond of Nana Muscuri and a guy called Mangatas de Plata, who was a Spanish flamenco guitarist, and my mum not so much. In fact, he was only allowed to listen to those records when Mum went out to play bowls or get the shopping or whatever. She really did not appreciate his flamenco music. And he was a very big fan of a guy called Louis Armstrong. Yeah, he was very famous. He had a nickname which was Satchmo, and my dad was a big fan of his. And there's a song that we played at his funeral, which was It's a Wonderful World. And I unfortunately wasn't able to be at his funeral because I was in the UK. But my brother said that they purposely played that song, and they knew that I would approve. And it's not just songs that bring back memories or snippets of cartoon music. It can also be things like when I worked with people as a social worker with older people and they'd lost a spouse, they would say, I can't buy his favourite ice cream anymore. I can't buy his favourite biscuits. You know, they were something I bought specially for him, and they can't do that. I always used to buy my dad cashew nuts and ginger when we came down to visit. Poor mum, I never bought her anything, but I always made sure I bought cashew nuts and ginger for my dad because I knew how much he liked them. But yeah, sorry Mum, who's no longer with us. Well, not thank goodness, but for some reason I never bought her anything, which is a bit mean thinking back. And even theme tunes of shows bring back memories. I remember in the house we had before this, the kitchen was sort of round the corner from where the TV was, and I was making dinner and my husband was watching telly, and I thought, what on earth is that? That's just come on. And it was strangely familiar. And here was my very adult husband watching the Thunderbirds. And it was so funny. And it was the original Thunderbirds. It was on a sort of I don't know what you'd call it. It was a channel that played all these programs from way back, from the 70s probably, maybe the 60s. And yeah, he was watching the Thunderbirds. And I came in and I said, "Are you watching the Thunderbirds?" And he just sort of grinned at me, and I sat down and watched them with him because it brought back those memories of childhood. And it was a great show at the time. We loved it. And so I can't remember much of what my children used to watch when they were younger, which is terrible. And I need to think about that. I think my son loved the Wombles, and I know they all like Sesame Street and Puff and stuff, but probably because when I had 3 children and I was working, I didn't have time to kind of sit there and watch programs with them. Or if I wasn't working, I was a sole parent and I was busy doing everything that had to be done in the house. But I'm sure if you ask my kids, they would have some favourites that bring back really nice memories for them. And there's other things that bring back memories. Photos are a great thing, but one thing that would be useful is to somehow put on the photographs who and where they were, because I know when we cleared out my husband's mum's place, there were some really cool photos, but we had no idea who was in them, where it was taken, when it was taken, any of those things. So we didn't know whether they were special or not, because his mum did rather like keeping a lot of stuff. I wonder, with my children, what will bring back memories for them, whether it be music, and that's memories of their childhood, it's memories of their adulthood, and time spent with me and my husband and the grandkids. I hope they have some good memories. It's important, I think, when you have children, when you have grandchildren, to build those memories. This has been Sue for Parkies and Me, My Journey with Parkinson's. I hope you'll join me again. Kia kaha, be strong, be brave, be you.